you've found your source for all things conservative. The Internet's new conservative radio network, CRN.
Oh, Jesus. It was, the mic was muted. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to do that again. This is interesting. Anyway.
Hey, isn't this live?
Yeah, this is live, actually.
This is the best type of listening, when it can be frank and it can be live and crazy stuff.
The mic was muted. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, as I mentioned before.
Now, Chris, are you trying to censor us already? I mean, Twitter's doing that.
I know. I'm censoring.
You're not supposed to.
Exactly. Listen, again. I have to repeat this again. You're listening to New Media Patriot Radio. I am your host, Chris, and on the Rebooting Liberty hotline, I have Kambree Nelson and Dr. Lee. They are big, really, huge, politically involved on Twitter and stuff like that. Again, if you want to call us, you can call us at 347-571-9007. You can call us at that number. We'll accept your calls. And you can listen to us via Spreaker, or visit conservativeradionetwork.com. So as I was mentioning, Kambree was on a previous show and she basically went on this rant about conservatism. Have you done any more videos, ranting on the internet?
I haven't really done any more since that. Actually, no, I did. I think I did one, after one of the debates. You know what it was? I did do a little tiny bit rant because a lot of people were giving Donald Trump a lot of smack and a lot of lip for not showing up to the Fox debate. And I actually backed him up because I believe that showed leadership right then and there. It showed him, hey, you know what? This is how I'm going to run my company. Run this country just the same way I run my company. You want to mess with me? I'm not going to fall prey into your game. So I did one more rant. It's a tiny one, but it was after Donald Trump said, no, Fox News, I am not going to show up to the debate. Can't walk all over me.
Right. And so I know that a lot of times Donald Trump, for instance, Rubio yesterday came out and says that he is really, really disgusted at the way, the media is basically putting Donald Trump all over, their newscasts and stuff like that. But the bottom line is this. They want the ratings, and that's why they put him on. And he's in control of the media. He's in control of every narrative that he wants to put out there, which is something that we haven't seen since. I'm not saying he's Ronald Reagan, but since Ronald Reagan. And back then, you only had 4 or 5 channels, I believe, 3 channels. So, Dr. Lee, tell us about yourself, because I know we don't know much. The audience might not know much about you. They know about Kambree because they've probably seen her video. So, tell us about you. You're a doctor, right?
Well, yes, Chris, I have a medical practice in Arizona and Texas, and I'm an independent physician. I'm not tied to any special interest or healthcare systems or insurance companies. My advocacy is for the patient, and I've always stood for what was right for the patient. One of the things that people may recognize my name as, my last name, Dr. Lee Valit, is that I've done a lot of work speaking on Obamacare and how it threatens patients' lives and patients' choice of doctors. Now, that's one aspect. You there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello?
Okay. The patient's medical freedom and loss of their doctors and types of specialists and the rising cost is one aspect of the government control of healthcare. Right. But also the impact on the economy. Obamacare was one of the biggest job killers. Right. And so I've been speaking on that. I'm also a very strong proponent on the Second Amendment, and I'm a very strong proponent for free market businesses, small business. I have a small business in the United States. I've been working to develop one in Chile and Panama, and I have been looking at what do small businesses need. And you put all of that together, and the one person running for president that understands the needs of freedom for business to function and be creative and innovate and succeed is clearly Donald Trump.
Right.
So my medical work has been in one direction, advocating for patients. And now I'm looking at how can I best use my business and medical experience to help us get away from the status quo. We need America's CEO, not the status quo, not career politicians. And we need somebody who understands the reality of dealing with the global community of businesses. And that example with the Fox News debate, Donald Trump said clearly, as Cam said, I'm not going to be dictated to by the media. You don't own me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make the best decision, and I'm not going to let you set me up because I want my message to ring with the truth and integrity of my message.
Right.
And I supported him in that. I thought it was a wise decision. He did a phenomenal job for the veterans, and he did more in one night to raise issues for the veterans' post-traumatic stress disorder, veteran suicide, and the VA debacle of medical care. Right. He did more in one night than people had done for years through the political system.
Yeah, well, I had other shows before where I had Dr. Marty come on, and we spoke about Obamacare and how it's really affecting the industry. But a lot of they've been saying that Donald Trump is for single payer. He actually isn't. We're going to touch on that later on in the show. We're going to touch on why you're an expert at this, and you have this particular article that describes exactly the health care that Donald Trump is trying to offer the citizens of the United States. But before we get to that, let's talk about what's happening today in Nevada, Cam. We got the Nevada caucuses, and basically, historically, it's typically, they say, a low turnout. You have between 10 to 15 of the state's registered Democrats typically showing up for these debates. They start at 5 Pacific Standard Time, which means that we won't really find anything out for a couple hours now. Have you heard anything? Any news out there? You're my news person. Anything going on?
I've heard everything, and I think it's quite interesting. I think it's a diversion part of it too, because remember, I think right now a lot of people, when they hear mainstream media, they really don't believe them. Mm-hmm. Last night it was very clear, how many thousands of people were sitting in an arena in Las Vegas for the Trump rally. If those people just showed up to caucus tonight, it's starting here in California, or on my time zone here in about 50 minutes, right there, that basically sets the record straight. So I haven't heard anything, but from what I've read today, but I believe we are going to have a great turnout. I know that Trump's been campaiggning there. I mean, I can't really say much for the other. Well, I think, Cruz is going to be there. Kasich is there. Carson is there. Rubio's skipping out on Las Vegas tonight. But I believe there's going to be a great turnout. Yeah. I believe Nevada is ready for this. They're excited about this. And I believe the momentum is pretty much going to carry through from what happened in South Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. And, Rubio's been skipping out on a lot of things lately, and we're going to get into that later on. But, if South Carolina is any indication as to the record turnouts, I mean, he should get the full support in he should get record turnouts in Nevada as well. And again, we owe this to Donald Trump. He's changed the game. He's getting people excited to come. He's getting people excited on both sides. He's getting a lot of people that are against him that want to come and vote against him, but he's also getting a large turnout of support. What do you say about that, Dr. Lee?
Well, I think that Donald Trump, the American public, owes the survival of this country to this man, because if he had not had the courage to speak out as directly and honestly and truthfully about the flood of illegal immigrants and the open door policy and what's going on the border. I live 80 miles from the border.
Right.
Now, I know exactly what's going on. I have friends and contacts at the senior level in the Border Patrol. What is really coming across the border would terrify people if they knew the truth. But the truth is being suppressed. We even had some of the diseases that came across the border were suppressed in terms of the public information. And I only was knowing about it because of my contacts in the Border Patrol. Donald Trump absolutely is saving the sovereignty of the United States and the security of the United States by forcing the Republicans to deal with these issues of immigration and our open borders.
Yes, indeed.
So I think everybody owes him a big round of gratitude for the fact that he was the one who had the courage to do that.
Yeah, well, this is what I always say. I've said it in previous shows. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, we would be talking about how Ted Cruz and everybody else is going to catch up to Jeb Bush, because he would have been propped up there if it wasn't for Donald Trump. I'll be honest with you. I truly believe that wholeheartedly, that if it wasn't for him, we'd be looking at Ted Cruz, in fourth place, maybe Marco Rubio ahead of him, but we'd be talking about how we're going to get rid of Jeb Bush, because nobody wanted a dynasty, and thanks to Donald Trump, now Jeb Bush is out of the race. So you're listening to New Media Patriot Radio. I'm your host, Chris, and on the Rebooting Liberty hotline, I have Kambree Nelson and Dr. Lee. So, in Nevada, you have 30 delegates at stake. And to this day, the count so far is 66 delegates for Donald Trump, 11 for Cruz, and 10 for Rubio. Now, how do you feel, Cam, that every time there is a primary or a caucus and you have guys that are coming in third and second place and, going out there and being the first ones out, like Rubio, and kind of like almost pretend like he won the whole thing. How do you feel about that?
I believe that is, a part of me is to save face, to say, hey, if we're going to, we've got the one thing about I've noticed with the politicians right now is especially with Marco Rubio, is we have the mainstream media that is definitely there's nothing that Marco Rubio can do when it comes, especially to Fox News, anything wrong. They shelter him. Everybody knows that definitely he is the GOP choice. He is the establishment. Right. When I look at it and I see the candidates giving their speeches after, I think what they're doing is they're keeping the people excited about saying, hey, we're still going forward. I'm still going on. I do believe that they're playing it up a little bit more, because think about it. They just lost to Donald Trump. They just got lost to Donald Trump. So I understand both of what they're doing. It is a strategy. It is to say to their people that are watching them, listen, I may have come in second, I may have come in third, and they'll say what they have to say in a tone and in a text to keep the voters, because the last thing that Cruz and Rubio want is one voter to lose one voter to go to Donald Trump. So I know a part of it is a strategy, a part of it is to save face, but it's also to let the people know that are voting for them, I'm still in the game. We still have a chance, and they're gonna stand from that platform so they don't look like the defeater. They don't want to look like they lost. Right. They're saying, hey, listen, this is an accomplishment. Whether it's second or whether it's third, it's an accomplishment. Rubio and Cruz, they believe wholeheartedly this election's not even close to being over. We see it differently. We know that Trump, this is a landslide right now. Yeah. But see it as this isn't over yet. So they have to say what they have to say, especially with other people dropping out. They got to pull in those other voters to try to get them on their side.
Right. It makes sense. Chris, it makes sense.
I agree. I agree with what Cam has said. I want to add something. Remember, it's the strategy she outlined, but it's also Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals, the strategy of speaking a lie so often it becomes truth. It is exactly what Hillary Clinton has done. It is exactly what Obama's done. Bernie Sanders does it. Rubio is doing it too. He is acting and speaking as if he's winning, because if he keeps repeating that lie long enough, when only the mainstream media is covering, is they are suppressing Trump and supporting him, that becomes a truth that many people across the United States, that's all they hear.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Now, add something to that. If you noticed this last time, what specifically, I would have to say specifically Rubio, what he did when he comes in second and third, they tweak what he has to say after he's apparently lost, because then I noticed he's going a little bit more pro